Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mekong region, we go to India, where Indira Dasgupta, the director of the People's Institute for Development and Training, she will be speaking about circular economy through environmental education and action, learning from the economy of the poor to rebuild a community. Case study from the grassroots in India. Indira, please.
Greetings, all friends. I'm very thankful to UNEP and the Switch in Asia and AIT for providing this platform to us. Today, I speak about the circular economy in a living environment of rural India through the environmental education and action at various levels: individual, community, societal, national, and global. The case study is based on the actions of a voluntary organization or NPO called the People's Institute for Development and Training, or PIDT in short. In spite of the fact that India occupies just 2.4% of the world's surface while supporting 18% of the world's population, the growth of an Indian economy at the current and projected rate will make it the third largest economy after Asia and United States, according to, of course, 2010 data. Many of the resources required for this development have to be imported, making way for much unsustainability. In this context, as a countercurrent, PIDT vision is the creation of a humane, equality-based, transformatory, resource-rich, sustainable society through the analytical understanding of the socially and economically underprivileged through their decisions and resources. In India's development path, sustainability needs to be achieved through reduction of inequalities and the concept of leaving no one behind, as well as understanding the circularity of production and consumption using nature as a mentor. Using nature as a mentor is about developing man-made processes on the basis of natural processes. PIDT worked with communities of the rural poor in indigenous communities who intrinsically understand the importance of ecology. Embedded in the thought is the society and its economic work within the environment. Most of the communities, however, face the onslaught of disruption through linear economic development patterns, for example, large-scale deforestation for building of highways and railways, eating into their resources and livelihoods without offering substantive alternatives. This case study talks about how communities of the poorest of the poor were able to rebuild their economies sustainably to such an extent through circular economy mechanisms so that they developed new markets to serve the community instead of being displaced. PIDT works with the community through collectivizing them into groups called self-help groups, facilitating these groups to save forests by developing watch groups. They were taught not only to save several hectares of forests, but to plant trees. The trees planted were often in the nature of orchards, feeding into the local economy. Another strategy that was used was to work with local watershed region to bring up the water table and increase access to water. Agriculture was enhanced, leading to more animal husbandry, which produced cow dung for organic sustainable agriculture. Any waste generated was made into biocompost and fed back into the land. The villagers were encouraged to start small businesses using various natural resources available, including apiary, aquaculture, mushroom cultivation, sericulture to weaving. Local artisans who were in a distressed condition were trained for further value adding on their produce. Renewal of energy was encouraged through biodigesters, solar energy, and biofuels. Another major intervention was holding the collectives in conflict resolution. In this manner, peace and nonviolent education was imparted where conflicts were settled in a humane manner within the community. There was an upsurge of vegetable cultivation, artisanal products, and cottage industries. There was collective decision making to create a new marketplace that would save them the trouble of traveling far to sell and buy their products, since consumption had grown along with the production. Next slide, please. At, at the societal level, a center called Lokshala People School was formed where self help groups and communities from different parts of the country were brought together to our circular hut or training space to discuss and share their experience of sustainable production and consumption. PIDT also organizes a school up to 10th grade where the students are encouraged to understand the UN Sustainable Development Goals vis-a-vis their communities so as to create volunteers for the circular economy. At the national and global levels also, dialogues have been organized to disseminate ideas and good practices that can determine a circular economy. Using nature as a mentor, collective decision making for the creation of new festivals, celebrating the awareness and understanding the circularity of climate and our responses to nature's design, developing zero waste solutions. Each of the three locations in the states of Assam, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand in India had about 50 to 80 villages celebrating their awareness and pledging of action. This transformation harnessed the needs of people within the context of value based education and social justice to affect systems of production and consumption. The innovation of incorporating wastes to become raw materials of other production processes was encouraged to work with the seasons that exist in a particular locale. It is this analytical understanding and the creative resource utilization of the marginalized that needs to be maintained, it needs to be mainstreamed towards the development of a new paradigm in market economy. This experimentation, in which PIDT was the catalyst of transformation of society, has demonstrated a path for sustainable development using environmental education to develop a circular economy. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very much, Indira. And I think you raise a very, very important point, lesson, in fact, for circular economy, that it's not just about money, it's not just about the economy, but it's also other developmental priorities, including poverty, including rural communities and people's needs that need to be incorporated into any strategy for the success of creating a circular economy.